When did you first have reason to believe there'd be no passenger flights from Doncaster Sheffield Airport in spring
It
2026?
would have been early August, summertime, when we was actually working through all the work that was given South Yorkshire MCA for the assurance work that we thought it's going to be later because of all the assurance work. However, there could have been passenger flights come June, July time 26 if we was prepared to underwrite the cost. But as we've not got the air corridors, as we've not got the airport actually got all the health and safety checks, we couldn't take that risk because these are two things outside of our
And
control.
can I just confirm then, is that the first time you had any reason to believe it wouldn't happen in spring 2026, or
It,
that's when you knew?
this is when we knew. You're waiting to see. So it was early August, and as I say, it's us doing and helping with the assurance work. We thought we're not going to get there. As
In,
I said, it could have been summer 26 if we'd been prepared to underwrite the airlines, but they're
okay.
outside our
And
control, the
so
air
would it be
corridors.
fair to say that there was reason to believe it wouldn't be possible earlier than that?
I think I'm always hopeful that we opened it yesterday, as you know,
Yeah.
and therefore we just needed to get that assurance, and we haven't got that as yet. We're still working behind the scenes with the CAA to get the air corridors,
Mm.
also working with the airlines. So we've not stopped working, but that was summer really.
And well, I just want to ask you this then, because at the end of 2024, which is roughly when the gain share decision was supposed to be, the line that yourself and your office and the Labour Party were promising people was that they would have passenger flights in spring 2024. That was the direct quote. Before the election in May, that was changed to open airport by spring 2024. There's a clear change there, which is, for most people, not obvious, but it's obvious enough to suggest that you guys knew something was different, something had changed.
I think that would just be the number of words that we're having to put on literature.
They
We
were both
didn't.
in Facebook posts, just pictures of
Yeah,
Facebook posts.
it's words that we actually use. We're actually looking, and as I said, we wanted it open as soon as possible, and it came to be summer, August time when we knew when we was doing the assurance work, because of course we've still got to get the funding at that time.
Do you accept it was misleading to continue to
No, I
allow
don't
people?
accept it because at the time it was printed, that was the information we'd got at that date. That was correct at that date.
I think it's also fair to argue that for most people in Doncaster, the phrase an open airport would refer to something that they can catch a flight from to go on
The
holiday.
airport has been open, as you know, with 2XL flying from there. And we also know, when you look, that we should have freight flying from there in summer 26 and people able to hopefully book their holidays towards the end of 26 to fly the end of 27. But there's so many interdependencies and they're outside of our control.
Listen, and just on that topic of freight flights in summer 26, because this is something that I think is going to confuse voters as well, because it confuses me too. That's different to what Oliver Coppard says. Oliver Coppard says that freight flights will be in spring 2027. He just says in 2027, sorry. You've suggested summer 2026, same as passenger flights. You've suggested end of 2027 / now the winter of 27/28. He says 2028 exactly.
This is the advice as our officers are continuing to talk to airlines, continuing to talk to freight. But again, there are interdependencies, and that is getting the air corridors and also getting the certification of the aerodrome. And they're outside. But we are already recruiting people now to actually pick up the work to get our runways certified, get the airport certified. So I believe, subject to those interdependencies, we can do it then. I think Mayor Coppard is being rather cautious, but I will keep pushing our officers as quickly as possible because these are the jobs and growth that Doncaster and South Yorkshire and wider afield need.
But why can the people of Doncaster and South Yorkshire now, because Simca are involved, how can they trust yourself and Mayor Coppard to get this over the line when you can't agree on when it's going to happen?
We can't agree on when it's going to happen on the basis that I'm being optimistic of us getting through the CAA more quickly than that, and also getting this certification of the aerodrome. Mayor Coppard is being a little bit more careful, and therefore, if you listen to what he said, is he thinks it will be 28, but hopefully it may be earlier. And I believe hopefully it will be earlier.
But he also said it was unlikely to be before 2028. So the signs, he says, his officers are telling him 2028 is the most likely option. But you just said your officers are telling you otherwise.
Doncaster is now leading on this, isn't it? Doncaster is the one that's doing the negotiation with the CAA. Of course, we're passing the information on. Doncaster assisted in the assurance work, and it's actually come out just the same. And therefore, overall, the extra assurance work, I understand for good governance. However, if it had taken the work that was there and done at that time, and the information changes over time, as you can appreciate, and information will keep changing, but we will keep coming back and letting people know, because as soon as we get the air corridor certification, we'll let people know. As soon as we get the airport certified, we'll let people know. Life moves on, and these interdependencies will affect, and of course, our discussions with the airlines, and they will depend. And as I said earlier, if we'd have underwritten, they could have been flying from there in 26, again, subject to the CAA giving us the air corridors and that. But we couldn't risk that amount of monies to underwrite, because it's outside of our control.
And my last kind of prepared question for you, Ross, before I ask you the classic, do you have anything else to say, thing to finish? With the benefit of hindsight, going back to this spring 2026 for passenger flights projection, with the benefit of hindsight, do you think it would have been better to tell people explicitly earlier on that it would not have happened in spring 2026?
I think we can always benefit with hindsight. I haven't got a crystal ball, and I'm not in charge of two interdependencies and airlines. We are negotiating. So we told them when we knew, which was coming summer.
And sorry.
As was assisting the MCA with doing their assurance works. That's when we actually said it.
And anything else, Mayor?
I think people want to see that airport open. So do I, as soon as possible. We will work like Trojans in order to get it open. And I'll be delighted to be on the first flight, if I can afford to go on it, when it actually leaves our runways.
Awesome. Thank you, Mayor Jones.
You are welcome.